Good morning, YouTube. This is Bill from Little White Dory. We just did a little feather removal. As you can see, here's the remnants of several chickens' wing feathers. Apparently my newest crew, and in particular this little critter right here, Hootie, has a desire to start up and just fly. So the other day I had them out. I put them in the yard and let them come out here for a little bit of picking at the green grass. And next thing I know, they were all the way around the front of the house in my neighbor's yard. Not that they flew, they just walked. But I just gave them like 2 minutes of time to get out and stretch their legs, and next thing you know, they're in the neighbor's yard. So in addition to the desire to wander, they also have a desire to fly. And what they've done is they've gone up onto the fencing here, and I've also had them go to the top of the little coop here, tops of the compost pallets, and as you can see, it's a 4-foot pallet, 6-foot fence. There's about a 2-foot space they could easily hop over. I have those strings there to kind of give me a little bit of an aerial protection for hawks, but still, I didn't intend the little girls here to be flying out. So today I threw some scratch out in here into the pile of leaves, and hence they're going to work, getting my money's worth out of them, free labor. And what they'll do is they'll spend the day scratching and pecking and looking for more scratch in here, breaking up the leaves. Each time they start digging, it just breaks them into smaller pieces. And then eventually I'm able to just take the little its and bits pieces and move it over to the compost pile. And you can see that, you know, all the way down this little lane here, the girls will find things to peck at. I'm still in a situation where the 3 smallest, or the 3 youngest, which is this one over here, which is yellow, that one back there is blue, and that's Hootie, are dominated by the other girls, no doubt, very clearly. Even the new black Asians here. This is, let's see, that one is Nubbins, I think. Yeah. This one is Fluffy. And somewhere over there is Cleo. I think I got that wrong. Who knows? Anyway, it's hard to tell them apart. You can, but I don't really pay that much attention. So it's winter here in New York, and so far my roof for my coop has been holding up. We haven't had any snow really to speak of, except one snowstorm in November before Thanksgiving. But today I think I'm going to put some plastic across the front of the coop here, so that if we get some snow, that I'm not going to get as much snow built up inside the coop. And I also want to get some more stuff for the bedding and the floor. It's been wood chips, but boy, I'll tell you, that stuff is disintegrated, and it's now heavily turned into just compost. It was originally very much so wood chips, but it's now, as I look at it, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but it's still got some wood chip content, but it's really broken down to being just composted wood amidst the feathers. Put a little calcium back in the ground. So I just want to get a little better protection for the winter coming up, you know, for snow. We haven't had a problem yet, but I anticipate that there's going to be a situation where there'll be enough snow coming in through the hardware cloth that it will snow inside the coop and the girls won't want to come out. I saved these bags of leaves to throw out on top of snow should we get some snow. And I don't know, it'll work. They'll come out on top of the snow. So for now, hopefully this clipping of the wings will help my girls that want to be vertical. And what I have over here is I had reset up the chicken tractor to be a temporary coop for my chicken Haley, who, for those of you who follow the news here at Little White Dory, I set this up to be a temporary housing for her. She was spending time in the house, in the bathroom stall, the shower stall. So we put down a piece of canvas so that she's not going to, that I wouldn't have all this straw getting into my garden. And she was doing well. Unfortunately, she succumbed to, I think it was just old age. It was like a slow, not seemingly painful death. Just I think her body was just shutting down from age. So we set this up in here. I had a feeder hanging down. It definitely gets warmer in here. So it's pretty much now set up to be a greenhouse again, and it'll be used again this spring so that I can get my starts going, you know, a few weeks earlier than if I didn't have it, is really what it boils down to. I keep this kind of, not locked, but, whoops, actually I got the pull cord stuck in here. There we go. And I just keep this up off the ground so that it doesn't rot by putting it up on top of this little hook. And then it just keeps it from laying on the ground, I guess. But it's worked out really well. I'm glad I built this. I started it probably about, not quite a year ago. And set it up to be both the greenhouse and chicken tractor. Right now I have a white tarp over the top. I'll change that out for a clear, well, not clear, but a poly that has more light get through it. You can see the poly on the bottom is clearer. It's not very clear, but it's the 6 mil UV protected poly, and the top is just a white tarp. That's really more for sunshade in the summertime for the chickens, because that's where I had the babies as they were getting a little older. Of course, in the back here, I've opened up a couple of times these winter covers to take a look and see, and there's definitely green stuff growing in there. It's cold, so it's not growing fast, but I figure if it's in there for the spring and gets a good head start, that will be great. You know, back here we've kind of cleared out. I haven't let the hens back here because, as you can see, there's very little in the way of overhead protection. This little gazebo doesn't really offer me a lot of protection, but I don't have them back here now, mostly because they don't need to be back here. And I don't know, come the spring, when the grass starts growing, I'll probably take some strings and run them across. It'll look a little silly, but at least I'll have a little protection from overhead from hawks. Only had the one incident, and I haven't really seen the hawks back again since. The trees here, I mean, I've got some, for Long Island, these are really huge trees. That's a silver maple that's got to be, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60 feet tall. And then my neighbor's got this big oak tree in here that is solid as a rock, and it also affords a hawk some pretty good perches to be able to come down and swoop in. On this side I don't have as much. Here it's lower, smaller stuff. And in this corner here, my biggest concern is that something would climb over the fence and get trapped back here without me knowing it, letting the girls out, and then they find the chickens. This is a Shelter Logic. You can almost see it. It's almost suiting that this is all faded out. This is only going on to its third winter, and it's shot. You can see where it's tearing through. I'm kind of disappointed. I didn't realize that they made a lesser quality canopy. They reduced the quality, kept the price the same, and I thought that because I was getting the one that was about the same price as the one I had prior, that I was getting about the same quality, and P.S. I'm not. This door is doing okay. The door on the other side is pretty much shredded. So, it is winter. You can see the shadows are long. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9. I don't know what time it is. And, you know, getting things done. Yesterday we spent some time getting the snowblower fixed. I have one of these 2-stroke single-stage Toro lawn snowblowers that I don't know, it's extremely loud, and I got it going again. That's all I can say. So in the previous videos, I know I think anyway that I've shown some pictures of my recent acquisitions that were meant to go to the new homestead that fell through. In case I hadn't said that before, I don't know. There were just too many things wrong. There was a property boundary problem. Then the water came back as very high pH. The highway entrance didn't have permits. Just all kinds of stuff came up in the sale, in the buying process, and the researching process. But I picked up this running gear to build a mobile chicken coop, which I probably still will, maybe. I'm thinking I'll probably put it on Craigslist just to see if anybody's got an interest in it. If I can sell it and just get rid of it, that would be fine. This one happens to be an International Harvester running gear, and I'm sure by now you've all seen the tractor, and the tractor's, you know, it's in good shape. Picked up a new top link, and I bought this little adapter so you can hook it up to have a trailer hitch off of the 3-point hitch. The engine seems to be running great, but I think the alternator is running poorly. So on a good charge on the battery, it seems to be fine. And it's a diesel, so once it's running, it really doesn't need electricity at all. And so to get it started, to have a charged battery seems to make a big difference. Anyway, hopefully I'll take this as a winter project. I'll pull the alternator, see if I can rebuild it. And what else have we got? I picked up some, what I'm going to use as rain barrels for rain catchment. You guys have probably seen these blue barrels. I tell you, I'm thinking, why would I buy a garbage can again? I can get this for 10 bucks. These garbage cans are like 40 bucks. And I think 4 of these will long outlive the garbage cans. So I'm going to hook these things up some point in the back of the garage so it'll catch the rainwater and store it, and then I'll use that for irrigating my plants. And that's it, man. The winter's here. It's December, let's see, it's Thursday, so that'll make it the 26th. Got a beautiful bright sky. It's supposed to get very warm here the next day or two, and with it is going to come a lot of rain. The weatherman is talking about just poor weather coming all the way from Texas to the coast of Maine. We're going to be able to put the shorts back on probably on Friday into Saturday. But either way, that's the state of the homestead here. We're still looking for more property in a house, but for the time being, it's a little tricky. Most people don't have their houses on the market in the winter. They tend to want to put them on in the spring. People like to relocate before the school year, that kind of a thing. But for now, we're going to just hunker down here, spend the winter here, and start looking again in the spring. Hopefully have a place to set up camp and give a whirl at homesteading, or I say homesteading, it's really kind of be small-scale farming. I'd like to just prove to myself that some of these systems that I've learned so much about work well. I was telling my wife yesterday, I wish I had just one good 50-foot to 100-foot run that I could put a row garden in. I was even thinking just do it right along here. Problem is I've got a sprinkler system underneath it, and I don't know where the lines run. So I don't want to be broad forking into it and finding the lines as I do it. So we'll just have to settle with the above ground raised bed gardens like this, which I just basically fill with some compost and plant into it. Okay, folks, I'm running on for about 13 minutes. That's enough babble for anybody to listen to. And we'll talk again soon. Maybe this spring we'll get some tenants in our birdhouse.